Welcome everybody to Bugbears and Brews. My name is Brian, and today we're doing a recap of the 17th encounter of our Tomb of Annihilation campaign. So started off with you guys getting shot at as you were crossing the river. You're on this gigantic 100-foot log that's you can kind of fit two abreast, but it's a little bit tight, but you can do it. You're getting shot at from the opposite shore, and so leading off immediately, Orc Orc and Barlow were midway, and then you had Fitz, who was on the log as well, and is on top of that, Navarre. Navarre made it across safely. He, I don't. Nah, he made it across safely without issue. Uh, Sai went running across and wound up accidentally knocking in uh, Barlow and Oric into the river, and then but not before Orc took a big arrow shot into the leg, and then what's his Fitz wound up hitting into the water as well. Uh, Trying to navigate the waters, Barlow was able to successfully easily grab back onto the log and didn't float downstream. Um, Orc traveled downstream a bit. Sai wound up jumping in and trying to save him and actually wound up losing his footing as well. And so they both tumbled a bit further downstream but safely got to shore. Fitz, on the other hand, did not have some good rolls, and also Tim decided he wanted to kind of change up players a little, or change up characters a little bit. So Fitz, between a combination of poor rolls and then choosing to fail other rolls, wound up going over the waterfall, down 200 feet, and the hit to the water actually killed him, and then immediately got pushed out into the lava just beyond the waterfall and was incinerated. Sadly, he went down with his magic item, which was a ring of evasion. I won't get into the details or reasons behind this. That kind of got a couple discussions going on there, but all in all, that's what Tim wanted to do, so I'm not going to talk him out of it. So from there, on the shore, Navarre started taking a look around for some evidence of who was shooting at him. You guys found or Navarre found an area where a scuffle took place on the other side of this, of the river there, and then once again, one set of tabaxi tracks continuing on. So he followed those tabaxi traps, got up to this ledge, not a ledge, a thoroughfare, walkway, whatever you want to call it, raised platform, walkway, not pavilion, boulevard. There we go. And started walking down that and ran into a hastily made trap that was left with clearly what was River Mist's bow. So he got Navarre took an arrow in the leg there, a little bit of poison on that arrow as well to make a little bit extra hurty. From there, let's see here what happened. Navarre went scouting with his eagle to try to get a better idea of what's going on, or not his eagle, his owl, get a better idea of what was going on. And he saw off in the distance, not too far away, but probably like a block or couple blocks down the way from where you guys were, there was some rustling in some bushes, a little bit larger. So he popped his fly, which was surprising to some people because that's the first time he flew. Popped his fly, flew over, and saw River down there messing with something really quick, trying to do something. River would kind of look back up and look at, not really, but just kind of like side glance, and then get back down and just kind of keep on fidgeting quickly. So Navarre's immediate reaction or thought is that she went ahead and got some sort of the crazy jungle fevers and has now gone nuts, killing her brother and then running away and attacking you guys and so on. So he heads down there, starts trying to talk to her, and he notices as he's getting closer that her lips are actually sewn shut, hastily sewn shut, and she is kind of bound up with a trap in front of her. And so he's untied the lips and started trying to shove one of the yucca the Yuncha beetles. I forget the name of what they are. The beetles that stop some of the jungle craziness. And as he's doing that, he gets shot from somebody across the way, and he looks and he sees the tail end of this hunter heading away, which the hunter itself, the other hunter, the hunter that was doing this, is Tabaxi as well. So he didn't get a good look at the Tabaxi, but did see that there was a Tabaxi that was doing this. Not knowing what to do with the trap, he decided, you know what, just grabbed River really quick, embraced her, and they did Thunderous Step and appeared 90 feet away and just started dashing towards the party. Long story short with her is the hunter ambushed him, killed Flask with a couple arrow shots, and then knocked her out. She's not sure what happened to the Commodore kitten. She woke up as they arrived on the other side of the river. They got in a bit of a scuffle, and he was able to capture her again and set up this trap for you guys to hopefully lure some of you away from the rest of the group to kind of isolate and take you out one by one. That's the last that we saw the hunter for the night. The hunter's out there. The hunter is a Tabaxi, and River mentioned that the older Tabaxis, they tend to try to go on like final hunts, and sometimes that's to hunt something crazy. In this case, this one seems to be wanting to hunt humanoids. You guys seem to be the targets of choice right now. As this discussion is going on, a dwarf approaches the party, which is Tim's new character, Obrecht. Yeah, Obrecht was the name. Is the name, not was the name. He joins up with the party. You guys do a little bit of party exchange there. Obrecht, for people that aren't at the table, if anybody listens that's not at the table, he is a dwarf fighter battle master. Yeah, I think dwarf fighter battle master. So you do some introductions there, get him filled up a little bit. And he's actually, Obrecht was from the same scouting party that Auric came in on. So if you remember when Auric got teleported, him and the halfling got into one place, and then he said there was a couple others in his party, but he's not sure where because they didn't even end up in the area they were supposed to end up when they were teleported down to Chult. So from there, we went into the Shrine of Ankh, the snail god of the Chult area, and his advice was contemplate all options before making a decision. And so looking in his shrine, there was a warehouse, not warehouse, like a tool shed type deal. I can't think of what the term is right now. We'll call it tool shed right now. But there was just hundreds upon hundreds upon hundreds of keys hanging up on the walls. Some of them were old and decrepit and clearly rusted through. Some were in okay condition. Some of the keys were on the ground, but lots and lots of keys. And so you guys are trying to figure out, how do we get this key into the door because there's no keyhole. And then somebody figured out that, hey, you know what? Let's just push the door. Barlow attempted to do this first, and he pushed the door, and nothing happened. But Barlow, being a gnome and being small, and remembering that, hey, the last time we had a door like this, it took 2 people to open it, and Barlow wasn't one of them. So using some of the hired muscle, you guys were able to open the door without issue. Looking into the shrine, there was a couple keys hanging on the wall, 6 total. There was this big 9-foot tall snail statue in the middle, and 3 undead baddies to come charging at you. The undead quickly charged. They did some damage, but only person that ever got paralyzed was Obrecht. Yeah, I think that's right. So one jumped in, charged in, got Obrecht, and then he slid on back, and then 2 more came up in front, and then you guys made pretty short work of the undead that stayed up front. The first undead that approached you but then ran away, you did not make short work of, and he actually came really close to doing some he did a lot of damage to the party, but he came really close to doing some very, very nasty stuff to the party. So this undead goes running back into the tomb, or the shrine, and you guys are giving chase to him. He's running and he grabs 2 keys and he runs up to the pedestal and he's laughing at you and taunting at you guys in a language you don't understand. And he puts a key into it and he turns it. You guys hear this click and you see this snail light up, the snail statue light up, and just beams go flying out at everybody. And I wound up not rolling for it being 10d6. I think I rolled in the 20s. It was in the 20s. And the undead pulled out that key, he threw it, and he went to go do it a second time. And I realized I forgot to add the damage to the undead the second time. So the damage that was done by the beams, because he wound up getting hit by the beams as well, actually killed him by like 1 or 2. So the second time around on the beams would have been very nasty because it hit everybody except for Barlow wasn't in the room and Var wasn't in the room. I think everybody else was in the room, and taking that damage along with the damage that the initial upfront undead did would have done a lot to everybody and would have hurt. I think we probably would have had a couple people in the zeros. From there, you guys moved on to the puzzle. How do we solve this puzzle shrine? So you had 6 keys around here, and all the keys were really, really thin inside the shrine. And so you guys are kind of looking at the keys, and then Mark playing Barlow came up with the idea, let's start stacking them together and see if anything comes about. You guys had a couple other ideas with that, but eventually got to the idea of let's stack them together and see what we can get. And you stacked them together and it formed what looked to be a single key, but the single key was just slightly bigger than the keyhole. And so you said, all right, well, that's not quite the solution. Maybe take some of these out. And every time you took something out, you had the idea that it wasn't quite right. Either the key would be a little bit longer, or a little bit shorter than it needs to be, or the tooth line was disrupted to a point where it looked very unnatural. So you knew you had to keep all these keys together, but what happens with that? And so you guys start looking around for different keyholes, maybe checking out the snail statue. Nothing comes to fruition. Eventually, Obrick is outside looking at the key shed and looking at all these keys. And he's like, maybe there's some keys in here that might match that thinness. And he's looking around, looking at shards and that kind of stuff, and it dawns on him. And I apologize if you hear my neighbor's horn, because the car alarm keeps on going off, and it does it all the time, and it's freaking annoying. Like, all the time. And he realizes that the keys that you have here is actually a pattern. And so you guys are able to find the matching key. You pop that in there. Leorn goes in, and he willingly turns the key, and then up pops the cube. You guys get the cube, and you take a long rest. And that's where we ended up with you guys. Or not a long rest, I'm sorry, a short rest. You guys want to take a short rest before you moved on to the next shrine. So the way this played out this session, a little sad to see Fitz go, especially for the reasons that Fitz did go, but Tim is okay with what he wanted to do, so you know what, that's fine. If he's happy with what he did, that's fine with me. I really like the way the Hunter scenario is playing it out. I'm playing it out a little bit differently than in the book. The Hunter to begin with was a very bland encounter, and I think somebody said this is a very Rambo First Bloody situation, and I thought that makes for a little bit more intensity, a little bit more than the very cut and dry plain encounter that was in the book there. The shrine itself, I really liked your guys' teamwork and puzzle solving skills on this one. I didn't give you guys anything that you weren't already on the trail on. I really liked the undead running and popping the trap for it, trap itself. Oh, the one thing I will point out about the undead is all of them had the blue triangle, Raz Nasi triangle on their foreheads. So, yeah, I'm excited. I think this was a really good session. I enjoyed this session a lot more than I did the previous one with the very combat heavy laden down. We had some good combat. We had some good mysteries. We had some good problem solving, some traps. A lot of good fun stuff. So looking forward to next week. I have an idea where you're going shrine wise, but you got a couple different options. I think that you guys picked out, but I think I got a good idea where you're going. So you know, get some good stuff going in my mind for that. So talk to you guys next week. Bye.